When I found out that I was having an ectopic pregnancy, it was all a bit of an emotional whirlwind. Everything happened quite quickly, from finding out to then finding out again. I think I initially was quite eager to try and brush it under the carpet emotionally, but speaking to Rachel Carter in particular and Louisa Davidson, they really encouraged me to take the time and use the support that was available to me, which meant that it made me pause, it made me stop and think about what was happening, and then I was able to take the time with my husband and my family to properly process it, which I don't think it hit me until a week or so later, and then it's a journey that you go on. Then you feel much better some days and you don't other days, but knowing that I had people at work supporting me for whatever I needed and encouraging me to just relax and try and figure everything out as a family just meant a lot, and I think I've dealt with it a lot better than I would have done if I would have rushed straight back to work. Although being in the job that we're in and we see families at the best times and the worst times that pregnancies can bring you, you don't really think that it's going to happen to you until it happens to you. So I was aware of the policy and was really pleased that it was something that we were starting to do. But yeah, I didn't give it too much thought really until it was happening. But now I'm very open about talking about it with everyone and making sure that everyone knows that it's something that we have to offer. Really important. We're lucky in a sense that, like I've said, we see it all the time, and I think on the whole, midwives and obstetricians and all the staff that work here are quite comfortable talking about loss, well, as comfortable as you can be talking about loss. I think in other areas I can imagine that really isn't the case. So I think other organisations taking on things like this is going to really help to start those conversations in workplaces and recognise that it's something that happens, it's something that we should talk about, because the more you talk about it, the more support that you can offer to each other. The fact that it's recognised that it is a loss and it's not sickness, it's not illness, it's a life event that's happened to you, and that's acknowledged, and you don't have to justify needing time to process it. That helped in being able to talk about it because you feel recognised, you feel understood, and then the time as well helps because you can deal with it privately with your family before sort of rushing back and then being in an environment where actually you're with pregnant women all the time, you're with people who've just had their babies all the time, and I think no matter in what way you are through your pregnancy, how far you are through your pregnancy, when you find out, your mind does jump straight to planning what your life's going to look like for the next 5 years. So coming back and then immediately caring for families is difficult, but having your colleagues that know what you've been through and can be sensitive to your needs is really important. I was happy to be back. I had sort of done all of the thinking and the feeling that I felt was helpful for me to do. And when I came back, I felt ready, and I felt ready to... I enjoy my job. I like coming to work. I love the people who I work with. So actually, coming back didn't feel very daunting. It felt like the right step. The clinical side of it, I think, could have been really difficult, but I had good support. So I haven't got any sort of negative memories of coming back to work really, because I was treated in a way that was respectful of what I'd been through over the last couple of weeks, and sort of really took into consideration my feelings, what I felt comfortable doing. So I felt ready to come back to work, but I know that if I didn't feel ready at that point, the managers that I have and the support that I had at work would have enabled me to take more time if I would have needed it. I had really good support from my husband, and his work was supportive as well. Sorry. Through when it was happening, he kept saying, you know, it's you that I care about, it's you that's important right now, but he is important as well. The partners are important. They're going, even though they're not going through it physically, they're going through everything with you emotionally. We're really lucky that we have great family support, and that actually his work at the time, his manager in particular, was really helpful and really supportive. He gave him the time to come to my hospital appointments with me. I was having to come every other day for pretty much a couple of weeks for blood tests, and having him there made all the difference. I think the thought of having to come back by myself for all of those times would have made everything 100 times harder. So it's so important that the partners are able to access that time for them to process and to be a support to their partners who are going through it. I think they have to do it. It's such a good thing to do. It just makes your staff feel like you care about them, and that's the most important thing. I do that all day, every day in my role. That's what I'm here for, and it does make such a difference to know that you're cared about, that you're not just a number, you're a human. And yeah, you're valued.